It's 2008. Elon Musk is standing at the edge of bankruptcy. Tesla is burning through cash. SpaceX has failed 3 rocket launches in a row. His personal fortune is down to his last dollar. And he has a choice: save himself or bet everything on rockets and electric cars that everyone says are impossible. He chooses impossible. This isn't a success story. This is a story about the price of audacity. And brother, that price is steep. Picture this: Christmas 2008. The financial crisis is destroying the global economy. Elon Musk has $180 million left from selling PayPal. That's it, his last chips. Tesla needs $80 million to survive the month. SpaceX needs every penny to launch one more rocket. If that rocket fails, SpaceX is done. If Tesla doesn't get funding, it's bankrupt. And Elon, he's got enough money to save one company. Maybe, not both. Here's what nobody tells you about that moment. The smart move was obvious. Save Tesla. It's closer to success. It has customers. It has products. SpaceX is a gamble on technology that's failed 3 times. Every advisor tells him to cut his losses. Every financial expert says space is a graveyard for billionaires. Even his friends are begging him to save what he can and walk away with dignity. Elon splits the money between both companies. Every last dollar. He takes out personal loans to survive, borrows money from friends, maxes out credit cards, and then the 4th rocket launches. December 28, 2008, Falcon 1 reaches orbit, the first privately funded rocket to ever do so. 6 days later, NASA awards SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. Tesla gets last-minute funding from investors who saw the SpaceX success. Both companies survive. Barely. That's not genius. That's not vision. That's audacity, bordering on insanity. That's looking at 100% certain failure and saying, "Watch me prove you wrong." And here's the thing about audacity. It costs everything. Your money, your reputation, your relationships, your sanity. And sometimes, if you're very lucky or very stubborn, it pays off. Before we dive into what that audacity built and what it destroyed, hit that subscribe button. Because this isn't a worship piece about a tech billionaire. This is the unfiltered truth about what happens when ambition has no ceiling and no off switch. Let's get into it. The world celebrates Elon Musk as the visionary who made electric cars cool and rockets reusable. But nobody talks about the bodies, the engineers who burned out, the executives who quit, the investors who lost fortunes, the family members who became casualties of his ambition. Success at this scale isn't clean. It's not inspiring. It's a war. And wars have costs. Tesla in 2008 was a disaster. The Roadster was over budget, behind schedule, and catching fire. The company had burned through $140 million and had one car to show for it. Martin Eberhard, the co-founder, was pushed out. The board was in chaos. Customers were demanding refunds. And Elon had just taken over as CEO, despite having 0 experience running a car company. SpaceX was worse. 3 failed launches, each one costing $60 million, each one destroying years of work in seconds. The team was demoralized. The industry was laughing. And Elon was personally going to the island of Kwajalein in the Pacific, working 100-hour weeks, sleeping under desks, because he refused to accept that space was only for governments. Drop a comment right now. Would you bet everything on a dream everyone said was impossible? Or would you take the safe path? Be honest, because that choice, that willingness to risk total destruction for a chance at changing the world, that's what separates people who dream from people who do. But here's what nobody asks. Should you make that bet? Is the cost worth it? Because the cost for Elon Musk wasn't just money. It was his first marriage, his relationship with his children, his mental health, his reputation. And as we're about to see, it was just the beginning. 2010 to 2012. Tesla goes public at $17 a share. The company is valued at $1.7 billion. Wall Street thinks it's overvalued. Short sellers are betting billions that Tesla will fail. They're probably right. The Model S is years behind schedule. The factory is a nightmare. The company is losing money on every car. And Elon is demanding the impossible from everyone, including himself. Here's what working at Tesla during those years was like, according to people who lived through it. You arrive at 7 a.m. You leave at 11 p.m. 7 days a week. No exceptions. If you have a family emergency, Elon questions your commitment. If you take a weekend off, you come back to find your project canceled and someone else doing your job. It's not a company, it's a cult. And Elon is a prophet who accepts nothing less than miracles. But here's the twisted part. It works. The Model S launches in 2012. It's not just good, it's the best car anyone's ever driven. It wins Motor Trend Car of the Year. Consumer Reports gives it a 99 out of 100. It's faster than a Porsche, safer than a Volvo, more luxurious than a Mercedes. And it's electric. Something everyone said was impossible to do at scale. Elon didn't just prove the doubters wrong. He made them look stupid. The cost? Divorces, burnouts, engineers with PTSD, stories of people sleeping in their cars because going home meant wasting commute time, stories of managers crying in bathrooms because nothing they did was ever good enough, stories of Elon sending midnight emails firing people for not meeting impossible deadlines. This is what Audacity actually looks like. Not inspirational quotes, not TED Talks, blood, sweat, and psychological warfare. And Elon? He's working harder than anyone, sleeping on the factory floor, reviewing every design decision, learning manufacturing processes from scratch. He's not asking people to do anything he won't do himself. That's the defense his supporters give. But here's the question. Does that make it okay? Does shared suffering justify the suffering? The Model S saves Tesla. Sales explode. The stock price goes from $17 to $100. Short sellers lose billions. Tesla becomes profitable, briefly. Because Elon isn't satisfied. He never is. The Model S was supposed to be the end goal. Instead, it's just the beginning. Now he wants to build a cheaper car. The Model 3, for the masses. And he wants to build it in a factory that doesn't exist, using techniques that haven't been invented yet. Hit that like button if you're starting to see the pattern. Success doesn't satisfy Elon Musk. It just raises the bar. And everyone around him has to clear that bar or get out of the way. Tesla announces the Model 3. Pre-orders flood in. 400,000 people put down $1,000 deposits. That's $400 million in free money. The press goes crazy. Tesla is the future. Elon Musk is the next Henry Ford. The stock soars. And behind the scenes, Elon knows something the public doesn't. They have no idea how to build 400,000 cars. They've never built more than 50,000 in a year. The Model 3 production is going to be hell. He's right. It becomes known as production hell, and it almost destroys everything. 2017 to 2018. Tesla is supposed to be making 5,000 Model 3s per week. They're making 2,000. Maybe. The automated assembly line Elon designed isn't working. Robots are crashing into each other. Paint is flaking off cars. Doors don't align. And customers who put down deposits 2 years ago are getting angry. The press smells blood. Tesla is failing. Musk is a fraud. The stock starts to drop. Elon moves into the factory. Not metaphorically, literally. He sets up a sleeping bag under a desk. He's there 24/7, personally fixing production line problems, screaming at suppliers, firing executives. The company is burning $6,500 per minute. They're 3 weeks from bankruptcy. Again. And Elon is having a public meltdown on Twitter, fighting with journalists, calling critics idiots, acting increasingly erratic. Here's what nobody outside Tesla knew. Elon was taking Ambien to sleep and using whatever he could to stay awake. He was working 120-hour weeks. His hands were shaking in meetings. Friends said he looked 10 years older. He later admitted to having a mental breakdown. His brother had to intervene, but he refused to stop, refused to delegate. Because in his mind, if he stopped, if he loosened his grip for 1 second, everything would collapse. The breaking point comes in April 2018. Bloomberg publishes an article titled, "Is Elon Musk Losing It?" The evidence is damning. Erratic behavior, conspiracy theories about short sellers, attacks on journalists, a bizarre appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast smoking weed, while Tesla is under SEC investigation. The board is worried. Investors are panicking. And Elon tweets, "Am considering taking Tesla private at $420. Funding secured." Except the funding wasn't secured. The SEC launches an investigation. Elon is charged with securities fraud. He settles, paying a $20 million fine and stepping down as chairman. But he refuses to stop tweeting, refuses to stop fighting. Because that's the thing about Audacity at this level. You can't turn it off. The same trait that lets you bet your last dollar on rockets is the same trait that makes you pick fights you can't win. Comment below. Is there a difference between visionary and reckless? Between confident and delusional? Because watching Elon during this period, it's hard to tell which side of that line he's on. Meanwhile, SpaceX is thriving. They're launching rockets regularly, reusing boosters, undercutting every competitor. NASA is dependent on them. The Pentagon is giving them contracts. And Elon is already talking about the next thing, Starship, a rocket powerful enough to send humans to Mars. Because of course he is. Because one existential crisis at a time isn't enough. But back at Tesla, production hell continues. June 2018. Elon makes a decision that defines his management style forever. He builds a tent in the parking lot, a literal tent, fills it with production equipment, and starts assembling cars outside. It's insane. It's desperate. It's brilliant. By the end of the month, they hit 5,000 cars per week. Wall Street said it was impossible. Elon made it happen through sheer force of will and tent-based manufacturing. The cost? More burnout, more turnover, more people who gave everything to Tesla and left with nothing but trauma. But the company survives. Again, stock goes up. Again. And Elon's reputation as someone who does impossible things is cemented, along with his reputation as someone who destroys everything in his path, including himself. The question nobody asks: what's the ratio? How many people can you break to achieve something great? What's the acceptable casualty rate for innovation? Elon would probably say the mission matters more than individuals. That changing the world requires sacrifice. But what if you're one of the people being sacrificed? What if your burnout, your divorce, your mental breakdown is the cost of someone else's audacity? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're about to become very real as we look at what happened to Elon's personal life while he was building empires. Let's talk about what audacity costs when you're not at work. Elon Musk has been married 3 times, twice to the same woman. He has 10 children. He's been estranged from some of them. His first son died of SIDS at 10 weeks old. His trans daughter legally changed her name to disassociate from him. This isn't TMZ gossip. This is the human cost of being Elon Musk or being related to him. His first wife, Justine, wrote an article about their marriage that's devastating. She describes Elon telling her at their wedding reception, "I am the alpha in this relationship." Describes him working constantly, treating the marriage like another optimization problem. When their son died, Elon's response was to throw himself into work. He told her grief was wasted energy. They should have another child immediately. When she wanted to process the loss, he saw it as inefficiency. They had 5 more children via IVF, twins, then triplets. The marriage ended in 2008, the same year as the Tesla/SpaceX near bankruptcy. Coincidence? When your husband is sleeping at the office, fighting to save two companies, betting everything on impossible goals, what happens to your marriage? It becomes another casualty, another acceptable loss in pursuit of the mission. Second marriage to Tallulah Riley. They married in 2010, divorced in 2012, remarried in 2013, divorced again in 2016. If that doesn't tell you something about Elon's ability to maintain relationships, nothing will. By all accounts, Tallulah loved him, but she couldn't compete with SpaceX and Tesla. Nobody could. The companies weren't just his work. They were his identity, his purpose, his everything. He's dated Amber Heard, had a very public on and off relationship with the musician Grimes. They had 2 children together, named one of them XAA12, which is either visionary or evidence of someone so disconnected from normal human experience that they think that's a reasonable name. They're not together anymore. Grimes has talked about how difficult it was, how Elon lived at poverty levels despite being the richest man in the world, how he's emotionally unavailable, how the work always comes first. Hit subscribe if you're realizing this isn't a story about a genius building the future. It's a story about what you give up to build the future, and whether that trade-off is worth it. His daughter Vivian transitioned and changed her name to disassociate from Elon. She's spoken about feeling abandoned by him, about his political shift alienating her, about fundamental disagreements on basic human rights. Elon's response has been to double down on his views, attack wokeness, and make jokes about pronouns. Even when it costs him his relationship with his own child, he won't compromise. That's audacity without limits. That's prioritizing being right over being loved, over being a present father, over being someone his children want in their lives. And here's the terrifying question. Does he even see this as a cost? Or does he view relationships as distractions from the mission? As weaknesses that prevent him from changing the world? 10 children. How often does he see them? By his own admission, not much. He's running multiple companies. He bought Twitter, renamed it X, and destroyed billions in value while claiming he was saving free speech. He's launching rockets, building tunnels with Boring Company, developing brain chips with Neuralink, working on AI with whatever his latest venture is. When does he have time to be a dad? The answer is, he doesn't. And he's apparently okay with that. He's tweeted about population collapse, about how we need more children to save civilization. Meanwhile, some of his own kids won't talk to him. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. But Elon doesn't do irony. He does mission. He does ambition. He does audacity. Everything else is secondary. So here's the real question, and I want you to comment your honest answer. Is this admirable or tragic? Is Elon Musk a hero sacrificing personal happiness for humanity's future? Or is he a cautionary tale about someone who achieved everything and lost what mattered? Because we're about to see how that audacity scales when you become the richest person in the world. October 2021. Elon Musk becomes the richest person in the world. Net worth, $340 billion. Not from salary, from Tesla stock. The company he almost bankrupted is now worth more than every other car company combined. He's vindicated, triumphant. The doubters are silenced. And what does he do with that wealth? He decides to buy Twitter for $44 billion. Because of course he does. April 2022. Elon offers to buy Twitter for $54.20 per share. The 420 is a weed joke because he apparently never matured past being 14. Twitter's board accepts. The internet goes insane. His fans celebrate. His critics panic. And Elon starts tweeting about free speech and how he's going to unlock Twitter's potential. Everyone should have known right then. This was going to be a disaster. Here's what nobody talks about. Elon tried to back out. He claimed Twitter lied about bot accounts, tried to cancel the deal. Twitter sued him to force the purchase. And in October 2022, Elon walked into Twitter headquarters carrying a sink, tweeting, "Let that sink in." It was supposed to be funny. It was a warning of the chaos to come. Within 2 weeks, he fires 50% of the staff. Just gone. Some find out through losing access to their email. He tells remaining employees they need to be extremely hardcore or leave. Hundreds more quit. The company goes from 7,500 employees to about 2,000. Critical infrastructure teams are gutted. The site starts breaking. And Elon is sleeping at the office again, micromanaging everything, convinced he can run Twitter better than people who've been doing it for years. He eliminates the verification system, replaces it with Twitter Blue, a paid service anyone can buy. Impersonators flood the platform. Eli Lilly's stock drops because someone with a purchased blue check impersonates them. Major advertisers flee. Revenue craters. Elon starts attacking advertisers on Twitter, telling them to go fuck themselves if they don't want to advertise on his platform. Truly genius-level business strategy there. He rebrands Twitter to X, rips down the Twitter sign and logo that have been iconic for over a decade. Why? Because he's been obsessed with the letter X since he founded X.com in 1999, which became PayPal. It's nostalgia. It's brand destruction. It's Elon imposing his will regardless of consequence. The platform is now worth about $15 billion. He paid $44 billion. He's destroyed $29 billion in value in 2 years. But here's what's fascinating. He doesn't care. Or at least, he claims not to. He says he bought Twitter to save free speech. That losing money is fine if he's protecting democracy. That the advertisers who left were too woke anyway. He's turned one of the most valuable communication platforms in the world into his personal playground/political weapon. And the audacity of it is breathtaking. Smash that like button if you're seeing the pattern. Elon Musk doesn't play by normal rules. Not in business, not in relationships, not in anything. He sees rules as suggestions, norms as constraints, and consequences as other people's problems. Meanwhile, Tesla's stock is dropping because investors are worried he's distracted. SpaceX is fine, but he's spending less time there. And he's becoming increasingly political, alienating half his customer base. The far right loves him. The left, which used to be his base, electric cars and climate change, remember, now sees him as a traitor. He's fighting with governments, with regulatory agencies, with former allies. The audacity that built empires is now burning bridges everywhere. The question is, why? Why did the richest man in the world need to buy Twitter? Why risk everything he'd built for a social media platform? The charitable interpretation: he genuinely believes in free speech and saw Twitter as corrupted. The realistic interpretation: his ego couldn't handle not being in complete control of a platform where people criticized him. Either way, it's costing him fortune, reputation, and relationships. But we're not done yet. Because while Twitter burns, Elon's launching the biggest, most audacious project yet. Let's talk about SpaceX's real goal. Not satellites, not space tourism, not even NASA contracts. Mars. Elon Musk wants to put 1 million people on Mars by 2050. He wants to make humanity a multi-planetary species. And he wants to do it because he believes Earth is doomed, and we need a backup plan. This isn't a side project. This is the reason SpaceX exists. And it's absolutely insane. Starship, the rocket that's supposed to make this happen. It's the largest rocket ever built. 400 feet tall. 33 engines on the first stage. Designed to be fully reusable. Designed to carry 100 tons to Mars. Designed to refuel in orbit and travel the 34 million miles to another planet. The engineering challenges are staggering. The costs are astronomical. The likelihood of success is, well, Let's just say it makes Tesla and SpaceX's early days look easy. First test flight, April 2023. The rocket launches. It's glorious for about 4 minutes. Then it starts tumbling. Several engines fail. It begins breaking apart. The flight termination system activates. The rocket explodes. The explosion is so powerful, it creates a crater at the launch site, throwing debris for miles. The FAA grounds Starship launches. Environmental groups sue, and Elon tweets, "Congrats SpaceX team on an exciting test launch." Learned a lot for next test launch in a few months. That's the Audacity distilled into one tweet. A multi-billion-dollar rocket just exploded. Regulatory agencies are furious. His own engineers are devastated. And Elon calls it exciting and educational. Because in his mind, failure isn't failure. It's data. It's iteration. It's necessary. He's not wrong exactly. SpaceX has always operated this way. Blow things up, learn, improve. But the scale now is different. And the stakes are humanity's future, according to Elon. Second test flight, November 2023. Gets further. Reaches space. Still explodes. Third test in March 2024. Even better. Almost reaches orbit. Still explodes. Each explosion costs hundreds of millions of dollars. Each one creates environmental damage. Each one increases regulatory scrutiny. And each one, according to Elon, is progress. He wants to launch hundreds of Starships, create a fleet, send them to Mars every 2 years when Earth and Mars align. It sounds like science fiction. It is science fiction. Except, he's actually trying to do it. Comment honestly, is this visionary or delusional? Is Elon Musk humanity's best hope for becoming multiplanetary? Or is he a billionaire with a Mars obsession, wasting resources that could solve Earth's problems? Here's what bothers his critics. Earth is dealing with climate change, poverty, disease, inequality. We have massive problems here. And Elon's solution is, leave? Build a backup planet? Spend hundreds of billions colonizing a frozen desert with no atmosphere while people on Earth are struggling? The optics are terrible. The priorities seem warped. But Elon doesn't care about optics. Never has. His argument, making life multiplanetary is insurance for humanity. One asteroid, one nuclear war, one catastrophe could end us. Mars is the backup drive. It's long-term thinking. It's species-level thinking. And it requires someone willing to dedicate their life and fortune to an impossible goal that might not pay off for decades or centuries. Someone with the audacity to aim for Mars, regardless of the cost. But here's the thing about Mars. It's killing him. Not literally. But the stress of running Tesla, running SpaceX, fixing Twitter, fighting regulations, raising money, managing thousands of employees, dealing with public criticism. It's unsustainable. People close to him say he's running on empty, that he's aged rapidly, that the weight of carrying multiple world-changing companies is crushing even someone as driven as Elon Musk. And yet, he won't slow down, won't delegate, won't step back, because the mission isn't complete. Tesla needs to sell tens of millions of cars to make EVs dominant. SpaceX needs to get to Mars. Twitter needs to be whatever his vision is. Neuralink needs to connect brains to computers. Boring Company needs to revolutionize transportation. The list never ends. Because Audacity doesn't have an off switch. So what happens when even Elon Musk reaches his limit? When the juggling act finally fails? We're about to find out. Elon Musk is fighting on multiple fronts. The SEC is investigating him again over Twitter disclosures. The DOJ is investigating SpaceX's hiring practices. The NTSB is investigating Tesla crashes involving Autopilot. The FAA is restricting Starship launches. The EU is threatening to ban Twitter for misinformation. And Elon's response to all of this? Attack them all on Twitter. Brilliant strategy. He's calling the SEC bastards. The FAA broken, the NTSB incompetent, the EU tyrannical. Every regulatory agency, every government body that questions him becomes an enemy. Not just opposition, personal enemies that he attacks by name on social media. This is what happens when audacity meets consequence, and audacity refuses to acknowledge that consequence exists. Tesla's facing real problems. Chinese competitors are eating their lunch with cheaper EVs. The Cybertruck, Elon's passion project, is plagued with issues and recalls. Production is a disaster. Reviews are mixed, and Tesla's stock is volatile because investors can't figure out if they're buying a car company or an Elon Musk reality show. Legacy automakers are catching up in EVs. The technological advantage Tesla had is shrinking, and Elon's spending more time on Twitter fights than Tesla strategy. SpaceX is still succeeding, but Starship development is slower than projected. Mars by 2050. Looking unlikely. The regulatory environment is hostile. Each explosion makes it worse. And while SpaceX launches satellites and crew missions successfully, the real goal, Mars colonization, seems further away than ever. Because it turns out, putting 1 million people on another planet is actually really, really hard. Who knew? Twitter/X is hemorrhaging money. Advertisers aren't coming back. Users are fleeing to competitors like Threads and Blue Sky. The platform is increasingly toxic. Misinformation is rampant because Elon gutted the content moderation teams. And he's doubling down on political content, turning X into a right-wing echo chamber. The left has largely abandoned it. It's becoming Parler with better infrastructure. Which is great if that's your goal, but terrible if you want to be a viable business. Hit that subscribe button because we're reaching the climax of this story, and you're not going to want to miss what happens when audacity collides with reality. His net worth has dropped from $340 billion to around $200 billion. Still absurdly wealthy. Still richer than almost everyone. But the trajectory is wrong. Tesla stock is down. Twitter's value is destroyed. The empire is showing cracks. And Elon's increasingly erratic behavior isn't helping. Late-night tweet storms, conspiracy theories, political rants. This isn't the disciplined entrepreneur who saved Tesla and SpaceX in 2008. This is someone coming apart at the seams. Friends have reportedly staged interventions, told him to log off, get help, take a break, delegate. He ignores them. Because in his mind, stepping back is giving up, and Elon Musk doesn't give up, ever. Even when giving up might be the smart play. Even when his own health and mental state are collapsing. The audacity that saved him before is now destroying him. Because the difference between heroic and tragic isn't always clear until the story's over. His political pivot has been startling. He went from being a Democrat, supporting Obama, caring about climate change, to becoming a right-wing culture warrior, supporting Trump, attacking wokeness, spreading conspiracy theories. Whether this is genuine belief or calculated business, trying to win back Trump supporters for Tesla is unclear, but it's alienated a huge portion of his customer and employee base. And it's made him a pariah in Silicon Valley, which used to worship him. So here's where we are. Elon Musk, the man who electrified cars and made rockets reusable, is now best known for destroying Twitter and spreading political conspiracy theories. The visionary is becoming a cautionary tale. And the saddest part? He can't see it, or won't see it. Because acknowledging limits, acknowledging mistakes, acknowledging that maybe the audacity has become toxic, that would require him to change. And change is the one thing Elon Musk refuses to do. But let's step back and ask the harder question. What has all of this achieved? What's the actual legacy? Let's do the math on what Elon Musk has actually accomplished. Not the mythology. The concrete, measurable impact. Because for all the chaos and personal wreckage, the man has done things. Things that matter. The question is, do they justify the cost? Tesla. When Elon took over in 2008, EVs were golf carts. Today, every major automaker is pivoting to electric. Tesla made EVs desirable. The Model S proved you could make an EV better than gas cars. The Model 3 proved you could do it at scale. By 2024, Tesla has sold over 5 million cars, prevented approximately 30 million tons of CO2 emissions, forced every car company on Earth to accelerate EV development. That's legacy. That matters. SpaceX. In 2008, private companies didn't launch rockets. Today, SpaceX has launched over 300 missions. They've reused boosters dozens of times, dropped launch costs from $10,000 per pound to $1,500. Broken government monopoly on space access. NASA depends on them. They're launching more mass to orbit than the rest of the world combined. Starlink provides internet to remote areas and kept Ukraine connected during invasion. That's tangible impact. So on innovation, Elon genuinely changed two massive industries: cars and space. Now the other side of the ledger. Drop a comment. If you had to score Elon Musk's career out of 10, what would you give him? The cost. Thousands of employees burned out. Autopilot deaths from oversold capabilities. Twitter's $29 billion value destruction. Public discourse degraded. 3 divorces. Estranged from children. No close friendships. Works constantly. Lives at poverty level despite $200 billion net worth. By his own admission, he's depressed and miserable. That's not admirable. That's tragic. The counter-argument: you can't revolutionize industries without casualties. Earth needs EVs for climate survival. Humanity needs to be multiplanetary. Those goals justify the methods. Maybe, but only if the mission succeeds. If Mars doesn't happen, if EVs don't save Earth, then it's just ambition that destroyed lives for nothing. So what's the verdict? Hero or villain? The answer is both. He's done extraordinary things and caused tremendous damage. He's pushed humanity forward and left destruction in his wake. The cult of personality around him is dangerous because it prevents accountability and enables his worst impulses. The question isn't whether we need ambitious people. It's whether Elon's specific methods were necessary. Does innovation require destroying everyone around you? Or is that just Elon's version? Could someone achieve the same with less collateral damage? We don't know, because we only have one Elon Musk operating at this scale. And he's not done yet. Elon Musk isn't slowing down. He's accelerating, and the future he's building is coming fast. Neuralink. AI Optimus robots. The guy who can barely manage Twitter thinks he should wire brains to computers and build artificial general intelligence. What could go wrong? Neuralink is putting chips in brains. The pitch: cure paralysis, restore sight, merge consciousness with AI. They started human trials in 2024. First patient controls computers with thoughts. That's incredible and terrifying. Because this is Elon, the man who moves fast and breaks things. Except now, the things are human brains. Animal testing had problems. Monkeys died. But Elon pushed through because regulatory caution is just another obstacle. Then there's AI. Elon warned about AI danger for years, called it humanity's biggest existential threat, then founded xAI to build AGI himself. The logic: someone's going to build it. Better me than them. He launched Grok, an anti-woke AI, integrated into X/Twitter. Fewer safety constraints than competitors. He's building the thing he warned us about, convinced it's fine because he's building it. Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robots. Elon claims they'll eventually be worth more than the car business. Millions of units doing household chores, factory work. The demos show capability. But this is the guy who promised full self-driving by 2017. It's 2024, and Teslas still can't drive themselves reliably. Take the robot timeline with skepticism. Hit that like button if you're worried about how much power one erratic billionaire has over humanity's technological future. One man controlling satellite internet, EVS, rockets, brain chips, AI, and robots. If this were a movie, he'd be the villain. Here's what keeps people up at night. Accountability. Who checks Elon Musk? Not his company boards. He controls them. Not regulators. He fights them. Not the public. His fans defend everything. Not the media. He bought a platform to attack journalists. There's no check on his power. Just audacity, resources, and momentum. The optimistic view. Elon's pushing humanity forward. EVS, space access, brain chips, AI, robots. Building the future science fiction promised. Yes, it's messy and chaotic, but that's the price of progress. The pessimistic view. He's an unstable billionaire with God complex, controlling critical infrastructure and developing dangerous technologies with minimal oversight. His judgment is impaired. This doesn't end well. Both views have merit. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But we're in the experiment now. Whether Elon succeeds or fails, we're all subjects in his attempt to reshape civilization. We didn't consent. He's just doing it anyway, because that's what audacity without limits looks like. Comment your honest take. Is Elon Musk humanity's best hope or biggest threat? So where does this end? Does he burn out? Does the empire collapse? Does Mars happen? Or does he pull off the impossible again? Let's talk about the cost, the end of the story. Except it's not the end. Elon's only 53. He could run these companies for 20 to 30 more years. But regardless of what happens next, we can assess what audacity at this scale costs. And the bill is steep. Financial cost is least interesting. Elon's lost $100 billion from peak. Twitter destroyed $29 billion. But he still has $200 billion. Money doesn't touch him anymore. The real costs are human. Psychological cost. By his own admission, Elon's miserable. He's tweeted about depression, feeling trapped, wishing he could shut off his brain. Takes Ambien to sleep. Aged rapidly. No hobbies. No joy outside work. This is what winning looks like at the highest level. It looks like hell. Relational cost. 3 divorces. 10 children. Some don't speak to him. No close friendships. Employees fear him. Public either worships or despises him. He's possibly the most famous person on Earth and fundamentally alone. That's not success. That's tragedy. Self-inflicted. Societal cost. Twitter's transformation degraded public discourse, amplified extremism and misinformation. Autopilot deaths from overselling capabilities. Starship explosions causing environmental damage. Employee burnout. Divorces from overwork. Mental health crises. Thousands gave their health to build his vision. That's the human cost of audacity. Real people, real damage. Drop that comment. After everything, is Elon's impact net positive or negative? Total it up. The EVS and emissions saved. Space innovation. Twitter disaster. Personal wreckage. Employee burnout. What's the final score? Here's what's complicated. The missions are real. Climate change is real. Humanity probably should be multiplanetary. These aren't fake problems. They require ambitious solutions. And ambitious solutions require ambitious people taking extraordinary risks. The question isn't whether we need people like Elon. It's whether his specific methods were necessary. Does changing the world require destroying everyone around you? Or is that just Elon's version? Could someone achieve the same with less collateral damage? We don't know, because we only have one Elon operating at this scale. The tragic possibility: Elon could have achieved the same things while being a better person. That the cruelty wasn't necessary. That broken relationships and employee trauma were choices, not requirements. But he never tried the other path. So we'll never know. Defenders say, judge by results. He's delivering electric vehicles and reusable rockets. Critics say, results don't justify methods. Both are right. Both are wrong. Audacity at this scale doesn't fit neat moral categories. Elon is simultaneously one of the most important and most destructive people alive. The lesson? Audacity is a tool. Used carefully, it achieves incredible things. Used recklessly, it's dangerous. Elon chose recklessness. We're living with the results. If this made you think, made you uncomfortable, made you question what success means, hit subscribe. Drop a comment with your take. Share this. Because this isn't just about one billionaire. It's about what we celebrate, what we tolerate, what we accept as the price of progress. Elon Musk bet everything when everyone said impossible. Saved both companies through will. Became richest person alive. Made reusable rockets real. Made EVs cool. Also destroyed Twitter. Alienated his children. Burned out thousands. And may be having a public breakdown while controlling critical infrastructure. The audacity of ambition. And its cost. In relationships. Mental health. Public discourse. Human lives. Was it worth it? We won't know for decades. But we're paying the cost now. And Elon? Still audacious. Still ambitious. Still convinced he's saving humanity. Still destroying everything in his path. That's not inspiration. That's a warning. Audacity without wisdom is recklessness. Ambition without humanity is cruelty. Success without happiness is tragedy. Elon changed the world, but he showed us the cost. And that cost might be too high.